let's talk about the Galaxy Z Fold 6 because it honestly really surprised me. Coming from the Z Fold 3, I thought this wasn't really going to be that big of an upgrade, and it's an amazing upgrade. And pretty much any category that you could think the Z Fold 3 wasn't improved upon, I think if you were actually to have the device, you would come to a different conclusion, because honestly, this is one of my favorite devices of all time. And I love my Z Fold 3, but everything that I had an issue with on the Z Fold 3 has been improved. Cameras, screen, front display size. I know it's not what we all wanted, which is a full-size display, but this is definitely an improvement over the Z Fold 3. So let's sit here and let's talk about why I think the Z Fold 6 is a fantastic device. And if you're coming from a 3 and below, this is a worthy upgrade. Samsung is the originator of the foldable display. The Z Fold was a revolutionary product, if you ask me. If you're like me and you were waiting for a device like that, something that you would be able to, kind of in the air. If you guys remember the Nexus tablets, and there was a Nexus 7 that you could almost pocket that thing. Well, with the Z Fold, just giving a brief history, with the Z Fold, you're able to have basically that form factor and then just able to fold it up, throw it in your pocket, go about your day. As I'm going about my business, I can use the outer display, and when I want to dive deeper, I want to watch, multitask, I want to watch something in a larger display. I don't have to go to a tablet or anything. I can just, flip it open and boom. And so that's kind of the appeal of the tablet for most people who are into foldable devices. That's the appeal of a foldable device. So what does the Z Fold 6 improve on versus the 3? And what does it just in general do really well? So what's the biggest feature that Samsung is really killing everyone else with? I think it's the software. And this sounds so crazy to say, but Samsung for the longest time, remember you guys, if you're old enough, you remember TouchWiz? It was terrible. Everyone wanted that stop Google Android experience that the back then the Nexus devices had. So what does having an advantage when it comes to software really mean? That means you can open, let's say if I want to have X now on the left-hand side of the screen, and then place Reddit on the right-hand side of the screen, and then maybe make just a little screen up in the upper left-hand corner for YouTube. But I want that YouTube video to be full screen. The software is smart enough to know that it's only going to be full screen in that little screen, its little box. It won't take over the entire phone, just in that little box. I can then, let's say I need to add some stuff up. I can drag and drop the calculator app, make it transparent so that I can get the numbers of whatever I'm trying to add or multiply, whatever, behind it, and still be able to see both the calculator and the the information I'm trying to pull from. Then I can make that into a pop-up, or I can make it go away. And you can do this with any number of apps. Pretty much all apps will be able to open in this type of multitasking display. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, that's great, but how often am I going to really use that? I use it a lot. If I'm sitting on the couch, I'm able to basically mimic my setup at my PC. I got 3 monitors. I have an ultra wide, then I have an ultra wide above that, and then I have a vertical display where I put X and Twitter, things like that. Things that read really well vertically. I can pretty much have a smaller version of that on my Z Fold 6. Most other foldables, they don't have that software experience. And that's just a small taste of some of the things the Z Fold 6 is able to do. We got S Pen support. S Pen support is fantastic. I've got the older S Pen Pro. I'm not sure if they still sell this now, but it's just a thicker S Pen. I'm able to write, you know, great. I think honestly, Samsung has the best pen support. I like the S Pen a lot better than I like the Apple Pencil. A lot better. I haven't been able to use the brand new Apple Pencil, but I just really feel like it's more natural writing with the S Pen, whether it be the Pro or just the regular, you know, Z Fold. The only problem I had with it before was I feel like the Galaxy S devices, the 22, 23, 24, whatever, it's just a little small to be able to write with a pen. I still like them and I still use them all the time, but you're really able to take full advantage of that big foldable display and be able to bang out some really good notes, and it feels really natural. The Galaxy Z Fold 6 has, you know, some things that the Z Fold 3 had already. It has the water resistance, it has the dust resistance, you know, the typical stuff that you look for in any device, whether it be a foldable or not. But one thing I really like about the Z Fold 6 is the battery life. My battery life has degraded so much on the Z Fold 3 that it was really like, it was never gonna make it throughout a full day on one charge. It just wasn't. The Z Fold 6, I'm getting amazing battery life. I don't know if it's just my usage, but sometimes I'm able to go 2 days without charging the device. And this is with all that multitasking, all of those, you know, things I'm doing with the device, whether it be watching YouTube, watching videos on X, scrolling, you know, typing stuff up. It lasts and lasts and lasts. I really can't complain about the battery life. I think that's a big pro on the Z Fold 6 compared to the Z Fold 3. Productivity. And I usually hate when people say productivity when they're referring to a device, a phone, but with the Z Fold 6, even with the iPhone, nowadays you can get so much done with these foldable, I'm sorry, not even foldables, just with these devices, you can get so much done. I'm recording this right now on my iPhone. You know, you can record videos, YouTube videos. There's people making devices with making movies or short little skits with meta glasses. You can really do a lot with these devices as far as your imagination will take you. And with the Z Fold 6, you really don't have to be that imaginative to be able to take advantage, because guess what? It has DeX. I think the Z Fold 6 has the smoothest experience of DeX, for me at least, going back to the Z Fold 2, you know, and Galaxy S devices. It's just so super smooth. I'm sure it's just as smooth on the S24 Ultra, but it's so smooth. Going from, you know, doing all that multitasking, just regular phone things, and then if you want to check emails, write emails, type up something, journal, read your Bible app, open multiple things, you really don't need a laptop. You can just plug this thing into a monitor. I have a wireless keyboard, the Apple Magic Keyboard, the Apple Magic Mouse, and the Magic Trackpad. And with the Magic Trackpad, because let's be honest, the Magic Mouse kind of sucks. The Magic Trackpad, I'm able to do all the gestures. I'm able to type on this thing and use it like, basically like it's a laptop, you know, like just hooked up to a monitor. And I feel like, yeah, it's not going to work for every single person. No, it's not going to be able to handle every task that you want it to do, or that, you know, a person could want it to do, but it can handle most things. Like people who are older, all they do is, you know, maybe some clerical things, you know, when it comes to emails, tweets, writing on social media. You can definitely get by with just this one device. You can get by with just doing it on screen, or you can hook it up to a monitor and have that much more space and use it like that. I just really feel like that's a plus that Samsung devices have that other, you know, manufacturers don't really have. You definitely can't do that with an Apple device. Cameras. Are the pictures on the Z Fold 6 better than the Z Fold 3? Absolutely, they're better than the Z Fold 3, which isn't really a hard thing to accomplish because the Z Fold 3 didn't have great cameras. Let's just be honest, it didn't have great cameras. The Z Fold 6 has great cameras. It's not S24 Ultra great. It's not iPhone great, but it's definitely good enough. Unfolding the Z Fold 6, it always feels like a magical experience. I know we're on the 6th iteration. Everyone else has a foldable, it seems like, other than Apple. But it's still, every time, this is my 3rd foldable device. Every time I unfold this device, it seems like I'm living in the future. And I just love it. I don't think that you could undersell the cool factor because phones used to be so cool. Remember the phones like the Kyocera, I think it was the Kyocera Echo or something like that? Android especially had all these weird, sometimes they didn't work, sometimes they weren't that great, kooky devices, but they were fun. HTC Ultra, what is that? HTC Evo 3D? Remember that? 3D photos? They were terrible. But it was a fun time. It was phones were fun back then. The Z Fold 6 is a fun device. Between all of the things, that Samsung gives you on the software side of things, it's just a fun device. You have reverse wireless charging, you have this just magical display that you can open up. And I know people tend to harp on the crease in the middle. The crease in the middle really goes away. Anyone who's owned a Z Fold 6, I think that after a while, you just kind of don't even notice. Like, I only notice the crease when people say something about the crease. But in my regular everyday life, I never notice the crease. And that's not saying I don't wish it was better. I always want everything in my device to be better, but I feel like it's definitely good enough to where it's not really that big of a problem. If you're going to the crease, you're really nitpicking. You're really nitpicking because they all have a crease. That's like saying, you get upset about a notch or you get upset about borders on a phone. To me, it's not really that big a deal. Like, it disappears when you're using the phone. I've never had a situation where I'm using Z Fold 2, 3, or 6, and it was like, oh man, this crease is really getting to me. It just doesn't happen. But fun factor is, that's definitely a big part of the Z Fold 6. It's a fun device. Some things I wish that Samsung would improve on the next version of the Z Fold 6. I do feel like the biggest elephant in the room is this device is extremely expensive. It's extremely expensive and you're paying for the foldable, the foldable part of the foldable. But if you're paying this much money for a device, Samsung, you gotta give us at least the best of the best when it comes to everything. I want the best display. I want the best cameras. I want a camera that's better than the S24 Ultra in a Z Fold because a Z Fold costs a lot more than an Ultra. I want the better camera, better display. I want S Pen built in, preferably. If it's a little bit thicker, I don't really care. Maybe you guys kind of feel me on that too. Like, do you really care that this phone is getting thinner and thinner and thinner, like paper thin? Like, I would rather have a big battery and included an S Pen that just goes inside of the device and make it a little thicker. It doesn't have to be the size of a brick to be able to do that. Make it the same size as the S24 Ultra and put a pen in there. I feel like that's something that they can definitely do. And especially with the cameras, they can definitely put the best cameras in there. I just think they need to do that. Like Samsung, I know the Z Fold 6 didn't sell the way they expected it to sell, but I think that's why. It's a really expensive device that doesn't have the best of the best in it. You're just paying for the Fold, and although the Fold is great for me and some of the people who are into foldables, I don't feel like people who haven't purchased or haven't been tempted to go the foldable route are going to be tempted until it has basically everything inside of the device. Well, the other thing that I don't like is some of these devices that are coming out in China, man, they just really look fantastic, and it's a shame we can't get them here in the US. If you're like us, you know, Americans, we can't get any of these great devices. It's basically between the OnePlus Open, Z Folds, and the Pixel Fold, and that's pretty much it. So otherwise, your important things. And my thing about importing devices is warranty. I'm going to pay $2,000 or near $2,000 to have something shipped out here, and if I have any problem with it, I'm SOL, or at least it's going to be, at the least, it's going to be a pain in the butt to be able to get, you know, anything fixed or repaired on it. And, you know, I'm going to probably make that with, there's a certain device I want really bad. I might make that. And I heard another device, you know, the trifold Huawei device is supposed to be going global. And I'm really interested in that. And if, depending on the price, I might bring that in and do a review of that. But it's a shame that we can't get those devices, and we only have the Z Fold and the Pixels and the OnePlus Opens, and I think they're all fantastic devices, but I do feel like the Z Fold is the best of those devices. They all offer different things, and they have their pros and they have their cons, but I think overall as a total package, the Z Fold is a better device than all of them. So wrapping things up, if you're on the fence, you're coming from a Z Fold 2, 3, maybe even 4, possibly 5, I'm not sure, and you're thinking about the Z Fold 6, I'm here to tell you, day to day, it's a great device. Definitely worth the upgrade. I really am, like, every day. I'm going on a month of having it. I love it. I use it all day long. I have the S22 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro Max and all kinds of other devices. It's my most used device outside of maybe the iPhone, but I use the iPhone for a lot of, you know, work type things. But outside of that, I really do love the device. I think that more people should go the foldable route. They would love it, but they do really need to bring those prices down. But if you're thinking about upgrading, hey, it gets my recommendation. So this has been Damien. If you guys really like the videos, please subscribe. Please give the thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't like it, don't give me a thumbs up. Don't give me a thumbs down, but don't give me a thumbs up. But, you know, just joking. But subscribe, like the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.